Hey guys, Kerry Werner from the Kona Maxxis Shimano CX team here at the Whistle Stop Campground. This is a beach in Wisconsin, like 3 miles from Trek headquarters. Anyway, this is where we're going to be all week for the World Cup. But I'm here to bring you race recap from day 2 of Charm City CX. So first thing to bring to attention here is the fact that there is a bit of a course change from yesterday. Everything is the same except for the whole Mansion Hill part. Instead of doing the off camber and then dropping down off of the Mansion Hill, we actually go up the steep part of Mansion Hill and then across the off camber, and consequently hit the barriers backwards as well. Okay. Other than that, the course is exactly the same. With that said, you hit that steep climb into the off camber pretty soon into the laps. A good start was pretty crucial in positioning on that first lap, just to avoid having to get off your bike. However, that was not the case for me. I had a pretty terrible start, and I was like right around 10th or so, maybe even outside of the top 10. I ended up having to get off on that first off camber and then spent basically the whole first lap trying to make my way up into the top 5 or so. Once there, it was pretty much business as usual. I tried to stay in that top 5, top 3 or 4. Vandenham suffered 2 chain breaks on the day, one off the start and one over the barriers later in the race, but still found himself in the top 15. So like Curtis White, I give you kudos, Vandenham. Early on, Eric Bruner and Scott McGill got off the front and put like 7 or 8 seconds on us, and they hung it out there for like 2 or 3 laps. So they made us work really hard to shut that down, and consequently that kind of like shattered the main chase group behind them. We did eventually catch them, and then things kind of like chilled for a lap or 2. Positioning was really important, as it seemed like every lap there was that climb up to the Mansion Hill, up to the steep climb to the off camber, and then across the off camber. And then after that, it was just so fast that it would get strung out and it would come back together. So like that was like the main thing to focus on. That was like where all the effort was for day 2. Contrary to the last 2 weekends of racing with Vinny, he did not get away early in this race and stick it out there. So we rolled into 3 laps to go with a group of about 4 or 5 riders. So it was Vinny, Chris Blevins, Curtis White, myself, Gage Hecht was up there, and Eric Bruner was kind of dangling right off the back of our group. I think he spent a few matches a little too early. I should also step back and mention that it was really hot on Sunday. Hotter than Saturday for sure. So coming into 3 to go, we had this big group. Blevins sent a massive attack, and that really kind of split things up. That left Gage dangling, and so it was the 4 of us, Vinny, Curtis, myself, and Chris, battling for the top steps. With 2 laps to go, just like the other couple laps, it was a really hard effort into the climb before we got up to the off camber. And I think Vinny was at the front really pushing it. Curtis was on the back. Chris was right in front of me. I hung on for that initial effort, but then as we hit the steep climb up to the off camber, I took a bad line and went straight up it instead of hugging the tape on the right and then tracking across. And because of that previous effort, my legs quit. I had to get off and push up to the off camber to remount. Curtis came around me, and that was it for me. Vinny and Blevins, and then Curtis latched back on, and I was back there chasing. So we came into 1 to go, and it was Curtis, Vinny, and Blevins on a gap on me, and I was just back there thinking that was about it for me. Once we got off the off camber though, I started to realize I was pulling Blevins back a little bit. So once we dropped off the off camber, I really started to pour on a bit more effort, and I started to bring him back. Unfortunately, it was a little too late. While I did make contact and jumped on his wheel right as we got on that final flyover, as I said yesterday, the Mario Kart speed booster into the finish straight. Person in front had massive advantage, and I was spent, so it ended up being Vinny, who got Curtis on the last lap. Curtis came in for second. Blevins got me for third, and I came in off the podium for fourth. It was a super fast weekend. Both days were just like bell to bell, really hard. I feel like having Vinny there and Blevins there this weekend really kind of added a whole nother level to the race this weekend. And honestly, I'm stoked. Sure, I'm not pumped to get on the podium, but really pumped on the effort and putting in a solid run from the start to the finish. Like Curtis said yesterday, it's good World Cup training, going full gas, bell to bell, and we're going to need that because here we are in Wisconsin. Got a C2 on Friday, and we got the first World Cup on Sunday. And then we got World Cup Wednesday in Fayettville. Then we got C1 on Friday at Jingle, C2 Saturday, and another World Cup on Sunday next weekend. So a lot of races, a lot of content to put out. Try to keep you guys updated. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. We'll check in after these next couple races.